President Trump considers what type of military action he will take or not take in the conflict between Israel and Iran. Members of Congress are stepping forward. Since the launch of Israel's Operation Rising Lion, a couple of resolutions have are being floated through the chambers. One of them grants official support to Israel for its initial strikes and places the U.S. as a supportive ally in the fight. One calls for congressional action before the U.S. can take any military action. So there's a divided Congress. We're here to discuss this, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, who serves on the House Select Committee on Intelligence. She's a member of the Abraham Accords Caucus. She represents the 24th Congressional District of New York. Congresswoman Tenney, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Great to be on again.
Now, you have introduced a resolution supporting Israel in their preemptive efforts to eliminate the threat of a nuclear Iran.
Yes, well, of course, I think this is really important that we set a marker as members of Congress that Israel has the right to defend itself, and Israel also has the right to defend itself, not just against nuclear weapons, but also the free world, because we know that although imminently close to Israel, Iran is focused on Israel in enriching and developing a nuclear weapon. There is a larger enemy that they're seeking to get beyond Israel, and that's the United States. And so I want to show our support for Israel, that they're actually, in many ways, fighting our war for the preservation of freedom and Western civilization by keeping this, menace at bay, the largest state sponsor of terror, the disruptor in the Middle East, the one that prevents the Abraham Accords from linking just about every nation over there that we're trying to push. So it's important that we set this marker, and we also make a clear line, Tony. I think this is what, there's a lot of confusion in the Republican Party, and I'd like to just make that clear. I'm a constitutionalist. I believe in what our founders' vision of self-reliance, of freedom, but also the security of our nation, which was the main reason they created a federal government in the first place, was security, border security, national defense. And I want to make sure that people understand that this is not pure freedom, pure security. It's a concept many call ordered liberty, where we have to balance freedom and liberty, which is why we created the Bill of Rights, to make sure we protect ourselves from government, but government tyranny. But remember, the Bill of Rights are very nuanced after much debate and argument for many, many months and years by our founders. So it is important that we understand that the security of our nation has to be protected. And in that, I think that there is some libertarian sort of isolationist wing of the Republican, or I should say the right side, by the way, ends up meeting the progressives on the other side, that believes that we should absolutely not support Israel and not get involved in making sure that we protect our interests in the Middle East, with the sole democracy there, by the way.
I agree with you 100%. I would add to that as the leader of the free world, it comes with some responsibility. It has its perks. We benefit as having the reserve currency for the world. We've benefited from that because we sell our debt to other countries, and we have a standard of living that is unmatched. But it requires certain responsibilities, and not that we should fight everyone's wars. I am not for that. But I think Israel holds a special place. But as you've pointed out, Iran poses a threat to Israel, to the United States, and to the free world.
Yes, exactly. And they've been trying to develop a nuclear weapon for a long time, as we all know. And the United States pulled out of the JCPOA a number of years under President Trump's first term. And we've been trying to track this. And obviously, we've had the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency. They've been actually monitoring this, and they've shown that Iran continues to develop a nuclear weapon against what the JCPOA actually outlined, and continued to pose a threat to the Middle East, particularly Israel, stating on a daily basis, that they were going to destroy Israel and the United States, by the way. And so this enrichment capacity reached almost 90%, which is weapons grade. And that's why I stood up and said we need to do a resolution showing that Israel needs to be supported in this, because it posed an existential threat not only to Israel in the Middle East, but also to those people in the United States and all of our citizens and residents here.
So let's talk about American engagement militarily. There are those saying that the president has to come to Congress before he can engage in military activity. We've already seen warnings by Iran, and in fact, reports suggesting they're preparing missiles to strike U.S. Bases in the Middle East. What's Congress's role here?
Yeah, well, first of all, of course, it'd be ideal if Congress would act. That's one of the reasons I introduced the resolution, to unify Congress in a way that in the event that we do have to act, we can act in a way that would have the majority, if not nearly all of our members, talk about the need of the president and his unique powers in defending and protecting the United States. You know, you hear some of the isolationists talking about the War Powers Act. Well, that's not the Constitution. That was an act that was subsequent to the Constitution, whose constitutionality remains to be seen at this point. But certainly the president has the power to protect the nation in terms of imminent threat. And so he's weighing that right now. This is a really kind of dynamic situation, right? We're not really sure where everything is going. Israel has done an incredible job at neutralizing Iran and their ability to respond right now. And if any point we feel and we see that Americans, whether it's our citizens or troops, are in harm's way, then the president has the constitutional right to act to protect them. You know, we're waiting to see what the president's going to do with this one nuclear site that we can't get to, and if that site could potentially be enriched enough to create a nuclear weapon that could harm our citizens or our soldiers and people in service. That Fordo nuclear site, the Israelis are not able to get to. So the president's weighing this, and we'll see what happens in the end. But right now, this is a critically important and very dynamic kind of breaking news situation. We're not sure what's going to happen, but so far, Israel has done a masterful job in neutralizing Iran. I mean, there's obviously issues. I have friends in Israel that are American citizens or dual citizens who are, in safe rooms and in bomb shelters right now, trying to see what's going to happen next. But we would love to see a democratic Iran, and so would everyone. And that's going to be up to the Iranian people. But the president's mission is to protect Americans and American soldiers in harm's way.
Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, always great to see you. We're going to have to leave it there. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Great to be on.